Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Dorothy. I'm a professional astrologer and you can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. Today, this is about the month of July, and this is for those of you who are Sagittarius or have Sagittarius rising. So the first thing I want to talk about is the full moon in the sign of Capricorn. Now this is going on in your second house. And when we have the full moon in Capricorn, the energy around that represents very logical, very practical. It's not an overly emotional moon. It can be, but typically when we have the moon, that is when it's full, there you go, in Capricorn, it's just a very more logical, practical energy. Going on in the second house for you, that is the house of values, how we use our skills and talents to earn a living, the things we value, the things we love, the things we love to have. It's not necessarily love, but it's the things we love to have. And so with Capricorn in there, it'll bring up, it's going to show us what it is that we value more and what we value the most with that full moon in that sector. But I want to also go on to July 6th. And what we have going on July 6th, that Sun in the sign of Cancer is in an opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. So if Pluto's in Capricorn, and we just had a few days ago the full moon in Capricorn, that means the moon made a transit over Pluto. The moon made a conjunction to Pluto earlier in the week. And so what we get with that is we get this heightened awareness of how our value systems are changing. Pluto's been moving through the sign of Capricorn and your second house since 2008. And since this has been going on, you're really having to focus in on what you value, because things are shifting and changing. Your financial situation is shifting and changing, and what you love and appreciate is going through a change. Once a month, the moon, once a month, yes, that's true. Once a month, the moon moves through that sector. This time we had a full moon there, so it was a big awareness. A few days after the full moon, the Sun is in exact opposition to Pluto, and that brings in another level of awareness. It brings a level in through the feminine, through the receptive, and then it brings in a level of awareness through the Sun, through the ego energy. And so, Sag, this is what you've got to be looking at, and this is what you're working on. Those are two of the financial houses, that second house and that eighth house. The Sun is over there in the eighth house of outside resources, and the second house is my own resources. So there's a financial situation happening for you. There's also, on the 12th of July, again, still the Sun. We're going to talk a lot about Cancer energy today. The Sun in the 8th house squares Uranus, and Uranus in Aries is over there in the 5th house. Now with Uranus moving through the 5th house for the last few years, that as well is about what the things we're passionate about. It's an area of the chart where we are willing to take risks, but things that we're passionate about. And so that Uranus is all about shifting those values, and it's in Aries, so it's about being very independent and shifting those values as well. So the Sun making a 90-degree angle to Uranus here, there's a challenge today and over this first week or two of July for you to really define what it is that you value, what you're passionate about, how you're spending your money, how much money you have spent in the past, and all of these different things. This is kind of a theme that's going to run through this whole month, and you'll hear the rest of it in a sec. All right, on July 15th, the new moon in Cancer, again in the 8th house. So that new moon represents, right before the new moon, it's very dark, right? So it's about going within and spending some reflective time. But once the moon is new on the 15th, the period, the energy around that does represent setting new goals. So if you have a financial situation you need to get under control, so you're able to maybe go get a mortgage or go borrow some big money for some sort of investment, you'll be able to do that now that the new moon is present. Set some goals for yourself as far as those financial resources go. On July 18th, again, Mercury in Cancer. And I say again because there's a theme here. The Sun in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, the new moon in Cancer, and we even have Mars in Cancer, and I'll get to that in a sec. But Mercury in Cancer will also make a square aspect to Uranus. So, again, from that 8th house of outside resources, into Uranus and Aries in that 5th house. And so this is an opportunity here to sit down and have a conversation with somebody. Mercury in Cancer is all about talking and speaking. So you're going to be able to have a conversation with somebody, and since Cancer is involved, it could have to do with your home, your family. You'll know what it is. On the 22nd, the Sun in the sign of Leo moves into that 9th house for you. So it gets out of the 8th and finally moves into the 9th house. It's going to illuminate the area of the chart that Leo energy will, what you're passionate about in regards to educating yourself, finding new things to be educated about, new things that we can expand our awareness about. Could be all those 8th house transits that you have going on. Could make you realize that the whole financial institution for yourself is just too much to handle. It's not for you. And you move into that 9th house. That 9th house is higher education, but it's also metaphysical things and expanding our awareness. It's kind of like that crown chakra opening up in a way, where we realize there's more to the world than just money. And you're a Sag, and this is your house. So the 9th house is your house. The Sun in Leo, so you've got Leo in your 9th house. So that's cool. That's fire energy. Leo's fire, you're fire. So this is a great opportunity, whether you're going to go educate yourself and really expand your knowledge into something else, or you might even look at traveling. Maybe that's what you were doing with those 8th house transits, seeing how you could borrow money and take a year off and go travel. Wouldn't that be awesome? I don't know. You know, it's your life. These are just some of the themes that happen. Just for Sag. I wanted to talk about next, the 25th of July. On the 25th of July, Venus goes retrograde in the sign of Leo. So Venus has already been in your 9th house for quite a few weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks at this point. So on the 25th of July, she goes retrograde, and will be retrograde till September 5th. And then not till the end of October does she move out of this sign. So she's been going to be in the sign for quite a few months as opposed to just a few weeks in a zodiac sign. What does that mean? Venus is what we value and what we love, because she's in charge of Taurus and Libra. So what we value and what we love, our physical possessions and the people we love. When it's in the sign of Leo, then it's what we're passionate about in those departments. When it's retrograde, it's about reevaluating. So this is in that 9th house. So it has a lot to do with, morals. It does a lot to do with morals and all those Sagittarius things, what we're moral about, what we believe in, what we've learned, what we might need to unlearn. And just in a general sense, and I've mentioned this in every video, Venus retrograde, especially in the sign of Leo, we have to be careful not to just jump into a wedding, not just to jump into a marriage. Whenever people get married or commit to each other under Venus retrograde, that means there's a karma to the relationship. So there's karmic debt that you owe each other, or you're working on old karma from other people, other relationships, whatever. But you're working on old karma. Lots of times past life relationships you and this person have, and you're working on old karma. So committing, getting married during this time period, not always a recommended thing to do. It's not a recommended thing to do if you do the traditional astrology. But if you're working on lots of old karma, and it's okay for you to work on karma, and it's okay for you to do those things, and you're fine with it, because you really want to clear this lifetime up, then you go with it. But that's what happens a lot when Venus is retrograde. There's a lot of karma that comes up for everybody. Also on the 25th, we have Mars. Now we had the Sun, the new moon, Mercury, all making, in Cancer, all making a square aspect to Uranus, and that will cause all of those sudden shifts and changes that I'd mentioned. But when Mars, and this is on the 25th of July, when Mars makes a square to Uranus, and both of these planets are in cardinal signs, Capricorn, Cancer and Aries, this is volatile. So throughout the month, you've had opportunities, all of us have had opportunities to express what is not working and what doesn't feel right. Through the Sun, through the new moon, and through Mercury, making all of these energies, making square aspects to Uranus. Uranus causes those sudden shifts. So once Mars gets there on the 25th, if you've just been stuffing it and not really working on communicating better, telling people what it is that you need. We can all do these things we can say these things in a loving, kind way if we need something to shift and change. We don't have to be, jerks about it. But this Mars-Uranus square, that's very difficult. That is just sudden shifts and sudden shifts. It's like the tension that the tectonic plates feel, when we're pushing against each other, and eventually they give, and it creates an earthquake, which creates lots of problems for people, especially if it's in a populated area. So what does this personally mean? This personally means there's a lot of tension. We've had opportunities to release the tension throughout the month. If we haven't released those tensions, whatever they may be for you, by the 25th of July, there's tension. And if you haven't released the pressure, it can release it all at once. I might want to wait for leave for my vacation until a couple days after that. I think I'll wait till the 31st. The full moon is the second full moon of the month. It's on the 31st of July, so it is, yes, an astrological blue moon. And it's in the sign of Aquarius, and that's in your third house. And so with Aquarius in your third house and that full moon there, again, it's giving you a unique opportunity to communicate what it is you need. It's giving you a unique, I say unique because Aquarius is unique, a unique and very different opportunity to release and let go of something somebody may have said to you, and you just need to let it go. Otherwise your life is going to feel you're having a really hard time with something somebody said or something you have said. It's about forgiveness and communicating better. I'm going to leave you with that. Come back to the website, come back to this channel, so subscribe and you'll be informed when new videos are up. But I always create a new moon and a full moon forecast, video forecast, so I'll give you a lot more details about that when we get closer to those periods, okay? All right, thank you very much. Blessed be, and namaste. I'm a Gemini. I like to